Welcome back to Dinar for Veterans, your trusted command center for critical intelligence on the Iraqi dinar and global currency developments that directly impact your financial future. If you're a veteran holding the dinar right now, eliminate every distraction and stay locked in for the next several minutes, because the information we're sharing today could fundamentally reshape your understanding of where we stand in this historic economic transition. What we're witnessing across international banking channels represents the most significant coordination of monetary policy we've seen in decades, and as veterans who served this nation with honor, you deserve to know exactly what's happening behind the institutional curtain. Right now, the global financial architecture is undergoing a massive structural transformation that traces back to decisions made at the highest levels of international monetary governance. For those of you who have held the Iraqi dinar through years of public skepticism and mainstream media dismissal, recent developments from Baghdad and Washington indicate we are entering an entirely new phase of legitimacy and institutional recognition. The patience you've demonstrated, the faith you've maintained, and the vision you've held onto are now being validated by tangible policy shifts emanating from central banking authorities worldwide. This is no longer theoretical discussion among internet forums. This is documented institutional movement with real-world implications for your portfolio and your family's financial security. Let's talk about what's actually happening on the ground in Iraq right now, because understanding the foundation is critical to making informed decisions. The Central Bank of Iraq has been implementing a comprehensive monetary reform strategy designed to stabilize the dinar and restore confidence in the national currency. This isn't propaganda or wishful thinking. These are documented policy initiatives that include reducing reliance on the US dollar for domestic transactions, strengthening foreign currency reserves, and modernizing the entire banking infrastructure throughout the country. Iraqi financial authorities have been working in direct coordination with the International Monetary Fund, the US Treasury, and the Federal Reserve to ensure that every step of this reform process meets international banking standards and compliance protocols. The most recent reports from Baghdad confirm that Iraqi banks are now processing transactions with unprecedented efficiency, and the technological infrastructure supporting the financial system has been completely overhauled. Advanced digital payment systems are being deployed across major cities, allowing Iraqi citizens to conduct business electronically rather than relying exclusively on physical cash transactions. This modernization represents billions of dollars in direct investment into the financial sector, and it sends a powerful signal to international investors that Iraq is serious about becoming a fully integrated member of the global economic community. For dinar holders, this institutional credibility is the bedrock upon which any future appreciation in value must be built. What makes this moment particularly significant is the convergence of multiple economic factors that are all pointing in the same direction. Iraq's oil production has reached levels not seen in years, with exports generating substantial revenue that flows directly into national reserves. The political environment, while still complex, has achieved a level of stability that allows for long-term economic planning and foreign investment partnerships. International corporations are returning to Iraq, signing contracts worth billions to develop infrastructure, energy projects, and telecommunications networks. This influx of foreign capital creates genuine demand for the Iraqi dinar in international markets, which is the fundamental driver of currency valuation. Without real economic activity backing a currency, no amount of speculation can create sustainable value. What we're seeing now is authentic economic growth supporting the monetary reform process. For veterans specifically, this journey with the Iraqi dinar carries a unique meaning that goes beyond simple financial investment. Many of you served in Iraq during the most challenging periods of conflict, witnessing firsthand the resilience and determination of the Iraqi people. You saw the potential of that nation even when it was shrouded in chaos and uncertainty. Your decision to hold the dinar represents not just an economic bet, but a belief in the possibility of redemption and reconstruction. That belief is now being reflected in the institutional frameworks being built by Iraqi leadership in partnership with international monetary authorities. The connection between your service and your investment creates a narrative that is both personally meaningful and financially strategic. Now let's address the elephant in the room, because honesty and transparency are the foundation of everything we do here at Dinar for Veterans. There has been an enormous amount of misinformation circulating in the dinar community, much of it driven by hype, exaggeration, and outright fabrication. You've probably encountered claims about secret bank screens, midnight activation sequences, and imminent exchange appointments at redemption centers. As veterans, you've been trained to distinguish between reliable intelligence and unverified rumors, and that same discipline must be applied to your currency holdings. The truth is that legitimate currency revaluation is a complex, lengthy process governed by strict international protocols. It doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen in secret. What we can confirm through credible sources is that Iraq continues to make measurable progress toward currency reform, but this progress unfolds according to economic fundamentals, not internet speculation. The Central Bank of Iraq has publicly stated its commitment to gradually strengthening the dinar through sound monetary policy, increased foreign reserves, and economic diversification away from total dependence on oil revenue. These are the building blocks of sustainable currency appreciation. When the dinar does increase in value, it will be reflected immediately on global foreign exchange platforms like Forex, where currencies are traded transparently in real time. There will be no secret rates, no private exchanges, and no special insider groups. Any appreciation will be visible to the entire world simultaneously, and you'll be able to exchange your currency at any major bank that deals in foreign exchange. The reason we emphasize this point so strongly is because your financial security depends on making decisions based on facts rather than fantasy. As veterans, you've earned every dollar you've invested, often through sacrifice and hardship that civilians can barely comprehend. Protecting that investment means staying grounded in reality and refusing to be swept up in emotional narratives designed to generate clicks and views. We respect your intelligence too much to feed you fairy tales. What we offer instead is sober analysis of actual developments, transparent discussion of both opportunities and risks, and a commitment to helping you navigate this investment with the same strategic thinking you applied during your military service. Recent communications from U.S. Treasury officials indicate ongoing collaboration with Iraqi financial authorities to combat money laundering and ensure compliance with international banking regulations. This partnership is critical because it demonstrates that the United States government maintains a vested interest in Iraq's economic stability and currency integrity. The Federal Reserve continues to supply U.S. dollars to the Central Bank of Iraq through established currency swap mechanisms, which provides essential liquidity to the Iraqi financial system. These institutional relationships create a framework of accountability and oversight that protects the dinar from the kind of wild volatility seen in unstable or isolated economies. For your investment, this means the dinar is backed not just by Iraqi resources, but by the credibility of international monetary cooperation. The role of oil in Iraq's economic future cannot be overstated, and recent production data shows significant increases that translate directly into national revenue. Iraq currently ranks among the top oil producers globally, with reserves that position the country as a long-term energy supplier to international markets. The revenue generated from oil exports provides the hard currency reserves that back the dinar and give it intrinsic value. As global energy demand continues to grow, particularly from emerging economies in Asia, Iraq's strategic importance as an energy supplier increases proportionally. This creates a favorable long-term outlook for the Iraqi economy and, by extension, for the national currency. Your position in the dinar essentially represents a stake in one of the world's most resource-rich nations at a time when those resources are in high demand. Beyond oil, Iraq is beginning to diversify its economic base through agriculture, manufacturing, and tourism initiatives. The ancient heritage sites scattered throughout the country represent enormous potential for tourism revenue once security conditions allow for large-scale international visits. Agricultural production in the fertile regions between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers is being revitalized through modern irrigation and farming techniques. These diversification efforts reduce Iraq's vulnerability to oil price fluctuations and create multiple revenue streams that support overall economic growth. A diversified economy is a more stable economy, and stability is precisely what currency investors need to see before major appreciation can occur. The Vietnamese dong presents a parallel opportunity that many dinar holders have also explored, and the economic fundamentals supporting Vietnam are equally compelling. Vietnam has emerged as one of Southeast Asia's manufacturing powerhouses, attracting massive foreign direct investment from global corporations seeking alternatives to China for production facilities. The country's young, educated workforce, combined with improving infrastructure and business-friendly policies, has created an economic boom that's reflected in consistent GDP growth rates. The Vietnamese dong, like the dinar, has been undervalued relative to the country's economic output, creating a potential opportunity for appreciation as the economy continues to expand and integrate into global trade networks. What distinguishes both Iraq and Vietnam from typical currency speculation plays is that these are real economies with tangible assets, productive populations, and genuine integration into international commerce. You're not betting on a digital token with no underlying value or a speculative bubble driven purely by market psychology. You're positioned in the currencies of sovereign nations with natural resources, strategic geographic locations, and increasing relevance in global economic affairs. This foundation of real-world value is what separates informed currency investment from reckless gambling. As veterans, your risk assessment skills are highly developed, and applying those skills to your dinar holdings means focusing on verifiable economic indicators rather than emotional speculation. Let's discuss what realistic appreciation might look like, because managing expectations is crucial to maintaining financial discipline. Currency revaluation, when it occurs through legitimate economic channels, typically happens gradually rather than explosively. A currency might appreciate 10%, 20%, or even 50% over a period of months or years as economic reforms take hold and international confidence builds. These are meaningful gains that can significantly multiply your initial investment, but they're a far cry from the thousand-fold increases promoted by some corners of the internet. Legitimate financial analysts who study emerging market currencies project that the Iraqi dinar could strengthen moderately as reforms continue and oil revenue stabilizes the economy. These projections are based on purchasing power parity, inflation differentials, and balance of trade calculations, the same metrics used to evaluate any currency's fundamental value. The path forward for your dinar investment should include several key principles that will serve you well, regardless of how the situation develops. First, never invest more than you can afford to lose completely. Currency speculation carries inherent risk, and even well-founded investments can be derailed by political instability, economic shocks, or policy reversals. Second, diversify your overall portfolio so that your financial security doesn't depend entirely on a single speculative position. Your dinar holdings should represent one component of a broader investment strategy that includes traditional assets like stocks, bonds, and real estate. Third, stay informed through credible sources rather than hype-driven websites that profit from generating excitement regardless of factual accuracy. Follow official statements from the Central Bank of Iraq, International Monetary Fund reports, and analysis from established financial institutions. Fourth, be patient and disciplined in your approach, recognizing that legitimate currency appreciation unfolds over time rather than overnight. The skills you developed in military service, particularly patience under pressure and commitment to the long-term mission, are directly applicable to your role as a currency investor. Fifth, when and if appreciation does occur, have a clear exit strategy that allows you to realize gains without succumbing to greed or fear. Decide in advance what percentage increase would represent success for your investment goals, and be prepared to execute that plan when the opportunity arrives. These principles won't generate the emotional excitement of midnight launch sequences and secret redemption centers, but they will protect your capital and position you for real success. The community of dinar holders includes thousands of veterans who share your unique perspective on this investment. And that community can be a source of support and information when approached with appropriate caution. Connecting with fellow veterans who understand both military service and currency investment creates opportunities for shared learning and mutual encouragement. However, be extremely selective about which online groups and forums you engage with, because many are dominated by misinformation and predatory actors seeking to exploit the hopeful. Seek out communities that prioritize factual discussion, welcome skeptical questions, and refuse to promote unverified claims. The quality of your information sources will directly determine the quality of your investment decisions. As we look toward the future, several key indicators will signal whether Iraq is making genuine progress toward currency reform or whether the situation is stagnating. Monitor official inflation rates published by Iraqi economic authorities, because sustained reduction in inflation is essential for currency stability. Watch foreign direct investment figures to see whether international corporations are committing capital to long-term projects within Iraq. Track oil production and export data to ensure that energy revenue continues flowing into national reserves. Pay attention to political developments, particularly the formation of stable governments capable of implementing economic policy consistently. Follow International Monetary Fund assessments and recommendations regarding Iraqi monetary policy. These concrete indicators provide far more valuable insight than any anonymous internet rumor. Your service to this nation has earned you the right to financial security and prosperity in your post-military life, and every investment decision you make should advance that fundamental goal. The Iraqi dinar represents one potential path toward building wealth, but it should never become an obsession that blinds you to other opportunities or risks your family's financial foundation. Approach this investment with the same tactical discipline you brought to military operations. Gather intelligence, assess risks honestly, execute your plan decisively, and remain flexible enough to adapt as circumstances change. This balanced approach honors both your service and your financial future. The transformation of Iraq from a war-torn nation into a stable economic participant is a process that will take years, possibly decades, to fully materialize. Your investment in the dinar essentially represents a long-term bet on that transformation succeeding, despite the obstacles and setbacks that inevitably occur. This requires a level of patience and conviction that not every investor possesses, but as a veteran, you've already demonstrated those qualities in the most challenging circumstances imaginable. Apply that same resilience to your currency holdings, refusing to be shaken by short-term noise while keeping your focus firmly on long-term fundamentals. As we bring this update to a close, remember that your value as a person and as a veteran is completely independent of any investment outcome. Whether the dinar appreciates dramatically, modestly, or not at all, your service to this country remains honorable and your future remains full of possibility. Financial investments are tools for building security, not measures of personal worth. Maintain that perspective as you navigate the complex world of currency speculation and never allow your self-worth to become entangled with your portfolio performance. You've already proven your courage and commitment in ways that most people will never understand. Now apply that same strength of character to building the financial future you and your family deserve. Stay informed, stay disciplined, and stay connected to the community of veterans who share this journey with you. We'll continue providing honest analysis and factual updates here at Dinar for Veterans, because you deserve nothing less than the truth. Thank you for your service, thank you for your trust, and thank you for being part of this community. Your financial future is worth fighting for, with the same determination you brought to defending this nation.